The White Privilege Conference, or WPC, is an annual gathering of thousands of private and public educators, students, and school administrators from across the country. Participants examine and confront what they see as systemic race-based privilege in America. In our previous reports, we've taken you behind the scenes at the White Privilege Conference.
But the institutionalized racism that is in America can't be denied. It can't be. I mean, you can't really argue against it. It is what it is, and this country was built on white principles for white people.
We, the people. So if we go back to the Constitution, we, the people, who was it? White men, land-owning, wealthy, Christian. They claimed to be straight at the time. Who knows?
In our nation, racism, white people do not experience racism. White people can experience discrimination, but not racism.
The longer you are in the Tea Party, the more racist you become.
We've also shown you how the conference trains teachers to induct children as young as 4 years old into the school of white privilege ideology.
Racism is central to America.
We want the children to understand that racism is systematic and institutionalized.
White privilege is something that white people have, meaning they have an advantage to a lot of things.
In our final report, we ask the question, can the attendees of the White Privilege Conference abide by the principles established by the white privilege theory? A recurring theme at the White Privilege Conference is the negative effects of European Christian culture. Christianity is presented not as a system of spiritual faith, but as an institutionalized system of social oppression like racism or sexism.
So, what do I mean by Christian hegemony? Very simply, I define it as the everyday, pervasive, deep-seated, and institutionalized dominance of Christian values, Christian institutions, leaders, and Christians as a group, primarily for the benefit of Christian ruling elites. So that's very similar to how we might define racism or sexism or other systems of oppression.
But do conference attendees consider other world religions through the same critical lens? During his workshop, White American Islamophobia, Amir Ahmed explains how Islam was spread through Africa by economic coercion.
What happened in West Africa is the kings, you had to be Muslim to have access to the Islamic trade routes. So the West African kings converted to Islam in order to be able to have access to these trade routes. So it wasn't through some kind of foreign colonization, it was through indigenous conversion for various reasons, politically, economically, socially, or just belief.
Here, Ahmed casually dismisses concerns about the Muslim Brotherhood, characterizing it as a simple political party.
Then, of course, there was the Huma Abedin saga, who was an aide to Hillary Clinton, which Michelle Bachmann said that the administration had ties to the Muslim Brotherhood because her grandfather may or may not, way back in the day, had some kind of ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, which is a political party in Egypt.
The day after Ahmed hosted his workshop, a rioting mob of the Muslim Brotherhood slaughtered a young Coptic woman for being a Christian and opened fire on her church, killing 3 others. But the attendees of the White Privilege Conference reserved their criticism for the historical misdeeds of European Christians, long dead. Contemporary injustices perpetrated by people of color are either ignored or forgiven. The mission of the WPC is to provide a challenging, collaborative, and comprehensive experience. But what's collaborative about segregated workshops? In order to disrupt institutionalized and systemic racism, the White Privilege Conference hosts separate but equal race-based workshops, one for whites only and one for people of color. This conference organizer explains that the segregated workshops offer a safe space for attendees.
It can feel, for some people of color, unsafe, right? Not universally, like in your group everybody was fine, but for some people they can feel like, oh, I don't...
Because I was white, they would feel unsafe.
Exactly. And it's not because you've done anything, you seem like a perfectly nice person, but it's because of the experiences they've had with others.
Another one of the central tenets of white privilege theory is that the institutional racism of white privilege is a tool of capitalism, and that capitalism, therefore, must be destroyed as an economic system. Yet capitalism is on display at every turn. If you'd like a teaching and facilitator guide to help you explain white privilege ideology to others, you can purchase one for $99. And nothing says, I've disrupted white privilege like a $50 polo shirt. One workshop's message in particular seemed to be at odds with the conference's popular contempt for the free market. Victor Woods, author of A Breed Apart, argues that America is filled with opportunity and that anyone can achieve success if they work hard and persevere.
This is America. This man had a shotgun on my head. We are friends now and do conferences together. Anything you want to do, you can do. You know who I met with last month? Drake CFO. Sat down with him working on possibly Drake playing me in the movie. I wrote these books, Successfully Achieving Your Vision. Eyesight's what you see in front of you. Vision is what you see down the road. Work ethic, perseverance. You know how long it took me to finish this book? 5 years. You know how long it took me to get on CNN? 10 years. It takes time, patience, commitment, focus, faith. See, the world opens up for a man or woman who knows where they're going.
An unapologetic capitalist, Woods encourages the conference attendees to purchase his book if they want to learn the details of his life story.
You'd be surprised how many people say, how did you do it? Somebody, I guarantee you, someone in this session will walk up to me when everyone's gone and say, and I will let you know, and it's in the book for $24.95.
Woods has done very well as an author and public speaker. So well, in fact, that his car enjoyed the most privileged parking spot at the Madison Hilton for his entire stay at the conference. If white privilege ideology seems extreme in theory, it also seems impossible in practice. The community of educators, students, and political activists that compose the conference are riddled with gross intellectual inconsistencies. They reject the Enlightenment because it is a white construct, but accept the fruits of Enlightenment thought, like freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. The conference openly condemns capitalism while also selling branded merchandising and charging hundreds of dollars to attend. It allegedly aspires to a world without racism while also enforcing racially segregated workshops, claiming that people of color are incapable of racism and insisting that white people are to be judged as either guilty of racism or guilty of benefiting from a racist system simply because of the color of their skin. It is, in a word, a racist ideology, one that is gaining ground among educators and one that is being spread through America's classrooms with the help of American tax dollars. For more information on the White Privilege Conference and to view the previous installments of this investigative report, please visit www.eagnews.org and www.progressivestoday.com.